On this episode, I'd like to welcome Ami Meoded. He is a prominent figure in the startup ecosystem, currently serving as the co-founder and chief marketing officer at LittleOne.Care, a company specializing in innovative baby monitoring technology. His role involves overseeing marketing strategies, product development to enhance the well-being of infants and their families. Ami is also involved in developing the next generation of baby technology, focusing on understanding parents and babies' behavioral patterns. LittleOne.Care is best known for its Elora Baby Wellness Monitor. Elora is the Apple Watch equivalent during those crucial stages of pregnancy and infancy for as long as the first 1,000 days from the start of pregnancy through the baby's first 2 years. Ami, welcome to AHA podcast.
Thank you for hosting me. I'm really excited to be here.
So tell me, what are the aha moments you've had in your life that brought you to where you are now as the CMO and co-founder of LittleOne.Care?
I think you will like this. When I was born, well, I can assume that in the past nobody had baby monitoring, and anyone in that generation raised the kids in a very simple and a very nice and very happy way. Simplicity was the name of the game. In my particular case, when I was 25 years old, I remember that there is a story in my family, but I never ever questioned it. And one day I was sitting with my father and my mom and asked them, can you remind me the story? What really had happened in my birth? So both of them at the very same time provided two different answers. My father said, "Oh, your mom stayed in the hospital for 6 months." And my mom said, "Oh yeah, yeah, you left the hospital. I had to stay there for 2 weeks." And I realized that I have something that I need to investigate, but I cannot do that with my parents since it's a very sensitive issue from my mom's point of view. She wanted to make it a little story when my father wanted to share with me the whole story. So I went to my auntie because I knew she knows the story. She said, "Yes, I raised you. Your mom stayed in the hospital." So I said, did she stay over there for 2 weeks or 6 months?" And she didn't want to provide me the full answer. In that generation, depression after birth was something you do not discuss. They didn't even have a word for that kind of thing. It was humiliating not to raise your kids. My auntie raised me. My mom was involved here and there. I am the first baby of my mom. I think she was expecting something and something else had happened. She was about to die from this birth. My father was a violent person. It was not easy. Later on, I found myself always working in areas that involved with kids. I was always the head of the PTA. I established schools. I brought to my country the Barney the dinosaur, Ninja Turtles. I was involved in creating content for babies. I always was in this market. And one day I stopped and I said to myself, I have to invest. And my parents are older. I think they are more mature and they can discuss that. And I start to communicate with them about it again in a different way. One thing I realized, I'm quite different. I think I'm quite different from my brothers and sisters that was raised at my mom's house and not with my auntie. And when I was trying to understand that, I talked to my cousin. She was 7 years older than me. And I talked to her about that. I said, "What really had happened there as from your memory when you were 7?" She said, "Ami, you were my doll. I played with you all day." It was like a gift. One day, my mom came with the baby. You act like I was behaving with you like a doll, and there is a lot of jokes that maybe she dropped me, maybe she played with me like a doll. But I think that my aha moment was, oh my God, how communication, fun, humor can make you raise one version from the very same DNA, one version of personality, and when another person who less hug you, less, and, more practical relationship, love and care and treatment. Everything is fine, but something is missing in a cold house. You raise something more analytical. I'm not saying that this is a formula, but the moment I compare between brothers and sisters that went to different background, that it was not, I know none of us was could make a decision. This is what had happened. I thought to myself, oh my God, that kind of area is going to be fascinating for me to understand this secret world of babies, beside of the values that I'm going to talk to you that we can provide and we do provide to the parents, but to be there and speak out what is going on through the babies, from the baby's point of view, I think is going to be fascinating. So this is my aha moment, and it's not aha that I have a huge insight. I can see the difference and the impact of the first few months, the first 24 months. Any research will tell you that these 24 months are crucial. They are very important.
So this gets to a classic question I think many people always ask is, and you're in a position now to answer because you've obviously been working this for a while. How much is nurture versus nature?
Oh my goodness. I will tell you something. When I hear such a question, I hear something else. Anytime you will be exposed to this question, remind them what I'm going to say right now. How much is under my responsibility and how much of it is not my responsibility? God forbid. Trust, everything is under your responsibility. Point. Take responsibility. First, this is the answer. First of all, to take responsibility, because if we start to discuss that, it's like to negotiate over the responsibility. If you are healthy, if you're not healthy, it's an issue. Mental health, physical health, developmental health. But if you are fine, take responsibility. And why I'm saying it, when you become a parent, nobody talks about that. It doesn't mean you are not kid. You're still a kid of your parents. When you become a parent, you bring into this new relationship with this baby anything you keep remembering from your parents, your relationship with food, your relationship with your own parents, the limits, the barriers, the values, the issues. And in many houses, the both spouse bring into that all the background, all the things they didn't really solve, and your baby doesn't need that. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Now I will answer your question. I think it's both of them has it's not exactly 50-50, but the contribution is crucial of both aspects. Um, your impact. This is the only thing you can impact it in a way that you will never ever need to say to yourself, "I'm going to give up on my responsibility to do the best." But yeah, there are people with skill, they taller, they're nicer, they're smarter. It doesn't mean that you cannot take responsibility for your persona, for the way you behave, what you learn. So one person will learn through examination 2 hours, the other one doesn't need to learn at all, and the third one week. The three of them can get A plus if they want to.
I've talked to many parents, and I often hear one thing that kind of resonates throughout, and you can tell me if you agree or not, is that when kids are born, there's a certain amount of their personality that's already there, that, even from day one, right? And as they get older and they can communicate, you can see more and more of that personality. But I think if I hear what you're saying correctly, you find it very interesting, going back to your aha moment, is that when you got to a point you could get the full story of what happened in your childhood, and you realize that you're coming from the same DNA. So assuming you have the same, genes and so on and so forth. But even so, I'm sure there's different personalities from day one among the kids. But you also see a difference in the way you were raised versus the way your siblings were raised, and how you see those differences now present themselves as adults and everything else. And that's what has led you to really emphasize the very early stages of infancy and motherhood and parenthood. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm curious then, you know, I think a lot of it is based on the influence you get as you grow up and the influence. So tell me, some of the three key things you have found that can make a big difference in the development of the child?
I will try to combine an answer for what we do, but with my personal experience with my kids. Engagement with babies is not something that you need to mark. It's not a daily mission to engage with your baby. It's not a daily mission. Yeah, I need to play with my baby. No, no, no.
If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to define engagement as well, because I want to make sure everyone has the same definition of engagement because it may vary. So if you don't mind, explain what you mean by engagement.
Engagement is beyond AI, baby monitoring technologies. And engagement is to look at your babies, to smile to your baby, to kiss your baby, to hug your baby, talk to your baby, and sing to your baby when you look at him. Human connection, but skin to skin, to be presence. It's very, very important to be present. This is one thing. The other thing, and it's not connected to my technology in my company, is when we talk about engagement, is to engage when your baby is around. Later on, they're going to be toddlers. Later on, they're going to be kids. And later on, they're going to be teenagers. And you are actually, this is the foundation of communication between people. My wife and I kept talking, communicating, thinking, and sometimes sharing a lot of information in a way that we have done it next to the kids, knowing that we're doing next to the kids. We talked about things that they should know and be aware of, not things that are sensitive, in order to tell them, yes, we are adults, we are the responsible adult here, but we don't know everything. We need to get an advice from my spouse. We need to plan the next week together. We have only one car, so we need to decide that on Wednesday she's going to take it, and on Friday I need to do to do this instead of doing that. And we kept doing that all the time. Communication is to tell you how to work, play, and to manage your world of relationships and reality understanding. So this is one of the most important things. What we do with the Elora is telling you how communicative you've been with your baby, how much you played with your baby. We don't have an ability because we do not know what you say, we do not know what you sing, we do not know what you read to your baby, but I think it's the foundation of everything. There is something that we should be aware of. When we talk to a baby, it's in every language. We start to tell we call it baby talk. Oh, Jonathan, I'm going to change your diaper. Why we speak like that? Because we would like to differentiate any syllable to make you understand the language. And we not just talk in a natural way. We do so either, but this is the way to make baby to understand the language. Okay, so this is one of the most important thing in baby development is the engagement.
Actually, you're absolutely right. You know, even in learning any language, even as an adult, one of the first things is being able to distinguish between words, right? And so you're right. I think we do that. We didn't realize that adults do that, but it's a way of enunciating so that they understand each different word.
More than that, if you will listen to a foreign language that you never ever heard before, you don't speak, you won't even distinguish between words. It's not just the syllables. It's like something that never stops, and you don't know what is it. So this is the way to make them learn language. And the other thing that if we talk about communication and language acquisition, vocabulary is not just to be good at school. Vocabulary is not just to express yourself. It's a very deep understanding of your own feelings, other people's behaviors. And this is one of the key skills that will make you compromise when you need to compromise, negotiate when you need to negotiate, and win when you need to win. But by talking and communicating, and unlike the kids that were not trained on that, when they are frustrated, they start to use their hands, and the other guy has a knife, the other guy a gun. So there is a connection between your ability to express yourself and to understand other people to violence. Because people who can express for themselves in a level that will stop it at the right time might gain even more, but will avoid themselves from having a file in the police, and having a file or having police in your house, no career. And no career, no money. No money, drugs. You understand what I'm saying? So this is one of the most important foundation, communication. And the communication is not just in front of the kids, it's to tell them how you communicate with adults in front of them. We are having every week a big meal together with the kids since they were born. And we used to plan the next week in front of them. And we ask each other, how was your week? Oh, no, and how was your week? Oh, it was. And we ask our kids, in the beginning, they didn't know what we asked them. Like, what do you want? And we ask them, what do you want for a week? I need to buy me this toy. This is the communication. I need to buy me the other toy. But later on, they understood how to plan their time and how to thank for what had happened and how to debrief themselves. So this is something that I think through communication and language, you can gain a lot. The other thing I would like to share with you, and we've done it again through the Elora. When we designed the Elora, technology enables you to do everything. We can share with you in real time when your baby is crying, pooing, sleeping, and the nurse and the nanny is right now rocking the baby, or I don't know, driving in the car with your baby. We can tell you all of that things. And we realize that there are places that technology is not an advantage. It's just irrelevant. Because when we set up the company, I remember that I told my partner, let's not write any code line and we not develop anything. The very first thing we need to do is to communicate with parents. And we created community of parents, like 30 of them, and we had deep interviews, surveys, and always we're trying to understand what they say, what they needed, and what they do not say, but in between the line, you can understand something much deeper they really need. At the very same time, we talk to baby experts and ask them, okay, the parents asked for that. Are you okay with it? You are not okay with that. And in many occasions, parents didn't even know what they asked because the value of it, then they couldn't see the negative impact of it next to the value that it can bring. For instance, the parents wanted to know, oh, you can tell us how much my baby is crying. Yeah, we can provide you such a report. No, but I need this report comparison to other kids to understand if I'm okay, if I'm fine, if it's normal. And we can do that, but we do not do that. So the other thing that I wanted to say is that we learned how to distinguish between the things we can do to the things we should do. And what we are trying to do through the Elora is on one end to make you engage with your baby, be for your baby, but when you are at work, be focused at your career. Let the nanny, let the caregiver, let your mother-in-law to do what they need to do. Trust them. When you will come back in the evening, you put the Elora in the docking station, you see the whole data for all the day. You don't need to know that at 7:13 he was crying, and at 10:15 he got a carrot, and at 12 they had shower. It's not important. When you come back after you spend the last 8-10 hours at work, and now you are playing and engaging with the baby, you are with the right energies because you didn't play the role of a father. I'm sorry to say that. For the last 10 hours, you are really sick for that. You waited for that. But if I will be with you and tell you what is going on all day, in the evening you will be fed. You cannot stand it and you won't be a good father. So the detachment is not less important than the attachment. So this is the other thing we learned. The last thing, most of baby monitors are in the area of the night sleep and the fear on what's going to happen. I will wake up in the morning and I'll see that something happened to my baby and I was not there for them. So all of this market contain cameras or any other sensors that track the baby's vitals, and it's a huge market. It is a huge market, and I'm sorry to say that when you work with fear, it's very, I don't want to say it easy, but it's much more a natural way to take out money from parents' pockets because nobody wants this fear to be responsible for that. We realized that safety, it's a wide thing. It's not just about the night sleep. We do track the lower motions of the belly because it's with the babies on the belly's baby, and you can see if we can tell if the Elora is moving with the belly. But issues can happen when you sleep in the stroller in the living room. Issues are not just about the night sleep. It can happen when your baby falls from a changing table, or if somebody supposed to take care of your baby scream at him, or if somebody shake your baby or treat him in a rude way. So there are so many other accidents that can happen. So we decided to create an umbrella of safety features to squeeze them into several algorithms and neural networks in the Elora to track the possible issues that might happen to babies. The air quality around your baby, it's something that we track either. This is our way to provide an umbrella of safety features around your baby. But again, you need to decide that you will receive a notification only in such cases of something that happened. You need to decide, you need to go to the setting, you need to update the app to say, if my baby is falling from a changing table, I would like to know about that in return. So it's one ping, but we will never ever use the live streaming because some of the parents don't know how to detach and they feel very bad. They have to go back to work. Go to work. Everything is fine. Trust your nanny, trust your caregivers. At the evening, you will be with energies to do your part.
So just to understand the Elora, is it a sensor or what is it you put on the baby or how does it monitor all of this?
The Elora is a sensor, white, tiny sensor, like a button, with an elephant picture on it. And it includes several sensors, like sensors that tracks the acceleration, the motion. Other sensors are microphones that tracks the sounds. They do not record, they just track the sounds of distinguish between crying, laughing, talking, screaming, music, singing, combined with the motion of the baby, the synchronization of the sound and motion. The AI knows how to tell you that the baby is tired and slept, or if the baby is in the stroller and you read him a book, or the baby is stuck in a chair but is staring for 2 hours, sit and do nothing, just playing with the iPad. Good or bad, I don't care. I don't want to go to that area. But it's important you to know that your baby was sitting and playing in an app.
And so this is like a button that attaches to the clothing or actually attaches to the baby directly?
No, it's attached to the clothing and it doesn't come in any way, it doesn't come with any connection to the skin. The baby skin is very sensitive, so we don't need any connection to the baby skin.
Okay. And so how does it help you with the communication part? Because a big part of what you're saying is communication, correct?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there is another feature that is very useful at the Elora. When you touch the Elora, it changes its color to blue, and you can say something. You can say, Jonathan, let's change your diaper. Your diaper is wet. Let's eat banana. Let's go to the park. Anything you said when you touch the Elora, first of all, I'm training you. It's enabling me to train you to talk to your baby and share with your baby what you're going to be, to describe the world to your baby. But when you've done it, speech to text feature, take it and convert it to an event in the app. So you don't need to open a baby diary and type that you change diaper at 12 and you fed the baby at 9. There are two levels here. One, it enables the parents no excuses anymore. Many occasions in many houses, the mom fed the baby, the father didn't typed in that he fed the baby at 2 a.m. and the mom doesn't know if he's hungry or not, and they can get divorced because of that kind of conflicts. So you touch the law and just say it. We gain another format. It gives us more data that tells the AI what is really going on, and we tagged the data of the sounds and the activities, the accelerations, and we can learn more and more and more what is really going on, and to in the future, theoretically, in some of the cases, we won't even need you to do it because we already understand this pattern, and we will understand that you change the diaper without even saying it, because we can recognize the lifting of the baby, opening the diaper, closing the diaper, the sounds of it and everything.
I see. So it doesn't record all the time, but you actually activate it when to record and when not to record. It's not like recording all the time automatically.
You decide when you touch it and you change its color to very nice blue, you have 4 seconds to say a sentence and that's it. Why it's important? Because you asked me about communication. The Elora is just the device. The center of the solution is the application. And we encourage the parents to invite to the app any person who is involved in this baby's lives. For instance, any caregiver. mother-in-law, the babysitter. And everyone can see the 24/7 around the clock, the 24/7 lives of the baby. Means if the baby was sleeping very badly last night and I'm supposed to take care of him during the daytime, I might watching it in 1 second. You can understand through the app that he's going to be annoying today. He's tired. Okay, this because we wanted to put the baby in the center. Any other device that's like camera, watch the nanny. Well, it's like supervising on the nanny. I'm not supervising anyone. I would like you to be all of us, to harness all of us, and to make everyone to adopt the idea that the baby is in the center. So the communication between the team, we call any group around a baby a team, because it's not just the family. The communication and the changing of the diapers, the feeding, the talking and everything, it's like a group work, because we need this baby to hear 15,000 words a day, to be active in this certain level, to sleep this number of hours. And we would like to see the whole picture end to end every 24 hours. Try to imagine, if you would like to see the world through the baby's eyes, this episode, if you were replacing me every 5 minutes, 15 minutes, because another caregiver is talking to you. This is the world through the baby's eyes. And in 15 minutes, somebody else taking over, and in many occasions doesn't even know what the previous person said or done. So we try to create a communicative tool around the baby, and more than that, when you access the app as a parent, you will be surprised to find out that your baby is not the issue, because babies doing only 4 things. They eat, they sleep, they poo, and cry. That's it. It's about yourself and what you do with your baby. But the moment we present you the data, you can question it. And what we have done, we created within our app a very interesting feature when you can meet any type of baby experts you could imagine. Sleep therapists, occupation therapists, breastfeeding experts, baby care specialists, and you can communicate with them over the real facts, real events of your baby's life. And as they said, now I'm quoting them, they say, okay, there is no problem with the baby. The problem is with the behavior of the parents, and they fix you. So this is what we have done to create a communicative tool around your baby in the most important for 24 months of life.
I think this is very interesting. Going back to my life, I mean, one of the things that my parents gave me, which was of great value and has served me well, is instill confidence, right? But one of the ways that was done is I was taken at a young age to many adult events, things, go to work with them and stuff like that. And I think what you're saying is very interesting, because if you think about it, humans really learn by one key thing: experience. And I think what you're saying is you now have a better way to monitor and have a pulse on the experience that's happening around the baby on a regular basis, when you're there, not there, everything. And I think that makes a big difference, because if you think about it, experience is how humans learn. For example, I'm sure your mom told you, Ami, do not touch the stove. Don't touch the stove. But you had to touch it one time, right? And then you said, yeah, you're right, mom. It wasn't enough that she told you, and you would just believe it and say, okay, I believe it. I'll never touch the stove. You had to touch it once.
I will tell you more than that. You talked about confidence. We have some psychologists that are in the app. When you click and you start to communicate with the experts, we have some psychologists that we work with. And one of the therapists said, I would like you to create a report that tells parents the reaction time. I asked her, what do you mean? She said, baby start to cry, right? I said, yes. And I said, and then she stopped saying, do you know why often kids do not cry? So what do you mean? I didn't know they're not crying. When you go to the office, she said, they're not crying because it won't help them anymore. They realize, they learn, their experience taught them that nobody will show up, so they learn not to cry. But kids that raised with the parents use the cry in order to demand, to say something. So I would like you to create a report that will tell parents what is their reaction time. I said, I don't want to time the parents like how much time took you to come to I don't like it. So no. And when we decided that we are not going to time them and to provide the parents units of seconds, how much time took you to wake up and to lift your baby or talk to your baby. The idea is to present you if you are consistent. We don't care if it's 30 seconds, 5 seconds, or 1 minute, but it has to be all the time 30 seconds if it's 30 seconds or around 30 seconds. Why? Your baby's confidence is about experience and understanding that when I'm crying for 30 seconds in this house, somebody will show up. But if one day it's 1 second, 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 30 seconds, I have no idea what is going on in this nightmare. I do not trust these guys. I cry and they do not show up. Or in the other occasion, both of them came after 1 second. So consistency will make the stability to be part of building the confidence in the caregivers. And many smart sleep therapists says, don't rush to your baby when they start to cry. Always wait that period of time to make this to make the kids understand this is your house. Everything is found. It's around 20 seconds or 30 seconds, but we will be there. And the moment the baby is more and more confidence, they stop crying because the confidence, they don't need to nag and to be sensitive about everything because they trust you. I have learned a very important lesson and we created that report.
What you're saying is very, very interesting to me, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been with many friends that have, let's say, newborns, and the natural instinct of any parent is, I do not want my child to cry, right? So they respond right away to everything. But the thing is, they don't realize this until maybe later, and some do and some never do, actually, that you're actually training the baby to cry because that's the only way they know how to demand and get things. And I'm going to say this statement, I don't mean it in a mean way, but babies are selfish creatures because they don't know anything else. They just know what they want and how to demand for it. And it's basically like you're training them, right? Because if you respond all the time and every cry, and even as they get older, if they throw temper tantrums and they do this and they get their way, it's just reinforced behavior. But if they do it and they don't get the attention they want, then they'll try other things, like not yelling and crying and screaming.
Yeah, you're right. But let's say let's form it in a different way. If I want parents to follow their instincts, sure, I would like them to follow the instincts. At the very same time, if this graph will show you that you are following your instincts and you are showing up in 1 second because you want to live next to your baby, which is annoying, it's impossible to live your own life that way. You will be bitter, you will suffer. If you will respond in a second to your baby's request, you raise something spoiled that will never ever know how to suspend satisfactions, which is important too. But I'm not opening that. Let's assume that you're following your instincts and this is your decision. I'm not going to argue you. This is your life. We are not telling parents what is good and what is bad. But at the very same reports, if you will see that another day, although you were trying to be there in a second, your baby was crying for 5 minutes and nobody showed up, this is abandonment. Your baby feels that he was left alone. This is the bad thing that we would like to avoid. Okay? So, yeah, it's important what you just said, and every parent will do what they understand. We would like to reflect them what is the results of it. We are like the weight in the gym. This is your weight. I'm not telling you if to start running or stop eating. This is your weight. Ask your trainer, ask yourself, but you need to live your life according to the reflection of the real things that happened yesterday, last week, last month, and what you have done today with your baby.
So give me an example that really stands out in your mind of how this has changed the way, well, let's say, a couple changed their parenting and what the outcome was.
I will give you two examples. I love them. When we started, we had several processes. We ran in pilots, alpha trial, beta trial, early adapter program. So when we ran the alpha trial, the very first one that we announced, and it was not just we had the previous version of the Elora, and we have 35 devices. It was kind of prototype. It was not the real device. And we wanted to learn so many things about the parents' activities, the data collection, and so on. I sent a message in several social assets that we started to develop that we are looking for parents It's free, but all we need is to use the product for a couple of months, and every couple of weeks we need to discuss it with the simple conditions. I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning and I got 400 requests to take part in the trial.
Wait a
God, I
minute. I want
didn't
to clarify.
say.
Will this request or cries for help?
So I said, oh my God, we have only 35 devices. What I'm going to do? So first of all, one of the conditions was to meet the parents and to show them how to use it, because it was not commercial device. And it was important from the safety point of view, because we didn't want to make any mistakes. There is no room for mistakes when you work with babies. So when I went to one of the houses, I explained the parents what is going to do, that it tracks the sound and everything. So the husband said, oh my God, I had no idea it tracks the voices as well. I thought it's just about the baby. So it's going to understand our voices in. I said, yeah, it tracks any voice. He said, no, 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 no. I cannot, I don't want you in my house. I said, what do you mean? Listen, I have to admit, I raise my voice all the time. This is my personality. I talk loud. Everybody say I'm screaming, but I don't care. I'm old enough. This is my life. I don't need this shit. This is the way he talked. He was a very rude person and he raised his voice. So I had another 400 people that are in the waiting list. So I didn't want even to negotiate with him. I said, thank you. I packed everything and went to the door because I had other people that are waiting. And I walked to the door. I said, bye bye, thank you to the wife. I'm sorry. She said nothing. She just looked at me. And when I walked to the door, he said, what is your name? Come back. I said, what do you mean? I said, listen. I was thinking I should speak more in a more gentle way next to my baby. I need to change my manners. That moment, I realized that we are doing something good. I said, yeah, this is because it's about the behavior of the parents without telling them anything. They need to take responsibility.
It's clear that that person had an aha moment. And it's also
Yeah,
clear that
yeah.
he could have benefited if his parents had Elora.
Maybe he was born and raised in a house where the people were
I
talking in a
think
violence,
the
but
chances are very high because
yeah.
babies, again, going back to learning by experience, they also therefore learn to emulate, right? And to basically learn, it becomes learned behavior from what's the environment around them.
And he decided that moment that he's going to cut this annoying chain, and next to his baby, maybe with his friend, is keep talking the way he talks. Next to his newborn, he will be more gentle, which will create another creature from that baby.
Break the cycle, yeah. So I'm curious, what happened before you go to the, so what happened? Did you follow up?
I was talking to his wife mostly because I know them through his wife. So I talked to her what is going on, and she said, my husband always talks about you because the Elora is with the baby. It's seen. We always see that, and it always remind you that you need to talk, you need to do this. It's a good reminder because shame you, you're going to see that in the evening anyway in the report. So do it right now, which leads me to another. He changed it overnight. The behavioral change is it's something that people say, oh yeah, I need to stop, I need to quit smoking, I need to stop do this. It's not the process. You stop when you stop. That's
It's
it.
it's a
And
mindset.
it's a mindset. And Laura was a very good reminder because you see the reports in the evening. So sorry, you
Well,
take
interesting enough,
responsibility.
now he had accountability.
Exactly, but it's a solution that includes everything because you can ignore the LoRa. You cannot use the LoRa if you don't want to face the reality. You are adult. I cannot tell you what to do about that. But if you use the LoRa, you can see how you behaved exactly like your smartwatch that tells you how many steps you had today. Fine, do whatever you want to do with that. But this is reality. The other story, which is similar to that, when we started in our beta trial, then we had the early adopter program. We worked in the US and we looked for uh, people that we send them the product, like real users, to run the unboxing by themselves, to download the application, to see how do they work with the product. And we found ourselves working with a lot of AI people before the AI became a very popular word. And it's a unique community, and people always talk about AI and everything. So we made lovely couple from Raleigh, and both of them are AI people. Lovely, lovely, lovely people. And one day I talked to the father and asked him, in one of the Deepcon interviews. It was a weekly interview, and sometimes it was with the wife only, sometimes with both of them, sometimes just with the father. And in one occasion, I talked only with him, and I said, in one sentence, it was one of the questions. What is the value of the Elora from your point of view? Because moms might tell you a lot of other things, but the father sometimes will tell you different. It's in every family, it's quite different, and you need sometimes to talk with them separately to gain more information. And he said something very interesting. He said, "Oh my God, although we talk all the time, all this sophisticated conversation about the technology, when I see this button on my baby's belly, I talk more because I know that in the evening I will see the number of the words he was exposed to. Simple as that, because it's a good reminder, it's a trigger." I said, oh my God, it's so simple sometimes. You don't, and although he is an AI person and you were expecting something very wise, but yes, and the funny thing is, when you do something and you repeat it again and again for 4 weeks to 6 weeks, it's becoming a habit. It's become part of your nature.
What's also interesting here is you're not only having accountability, it's also a form of gamification because you have the accountability. It's kind of like my father got a CPAP and it tells him, how much he's used it all night without taking, and he likes getting the 100%, right? Because it's like a game, right? Hey, yeah, I did, I maximized, but I think but it's also a form of accountability. So I think this is really interesting. You've not only introduced accountability, but in a way, it's also gamifying. We think, I know I'm going to get a good report because I'm going to make sure I do what I need to do to get the good report.
It's a very important section. Why we call it a big section in our product, because we discussed that a lot. Gamification can be done only between you and yourself. The moment because gamification very easily can become a competition. There are a lot of mom and fathers that, although this other spouse is not like that, but they are very competitive people. So we need to avoid that. So the gamification either will be between you and yourself, but never ever comparison to other kids. I have an idea that I would like to implement. We didn't implement it yet. Our responsibility is to make you as a family to understand that you need to play more, speak more, engage more, read more to your baby, sleep at the right times in the right environment that will enable good night sleep and so on. So we are going to create gamification in a different level that compare between parents, but will never ever give you the right to be a very competitive person. I will explain. Try to imagine we sell the product in the US right now, and try to imagine that we have several thousand products at the same time in different cities. So we would like to one day we will announce that this week we have a singing competition. All parents from New York, comparison the parents from Buffalo, and against to Salt Lake City, and it's going to be the competition just between these three cities, and we will see which city sings more to the babies. It's not about you as individual; it's about you as a group of parents that live in New York or Salt Lake City or LA. And the idea will be to make all the baby experts in the app to communicate with the parents to remind me how there is a connection between the confidence of this baby later on as a toddler with their ability to sing together with you, or reading more to the babies, playing more with the babies. We're going to do that as a gamification that will make anyone to be aware of the importance of that, make the experts to initiate conversation around it, but not as a competition between individuals. Yeah, we can be proud that New York won, or LA won, or Buffalo won, but the idea is not to make competition between individuals and never ever present parents charts or reports that are comparison reports.
Right, right, right. You don't want to do that. Yeah, that makes sense. Where do you see the future going with your product, or even what interests you about babies and the development of babies and parenting? What do you see yourself maybe wanting to look into more in the future?
The very first thing we need to do is to have a lot of products in the market, because the parents see the value in it for themselves. Without that, any other thing I'm going to say, it's irrelevant. However, we already run medical trials, although it's not a medical device. We do not track any vitals. It cannot be a medical device. We don't track any vitals. But people who are in the area of baby development, neurologists in this area, already understand that this product, it's a very good solution to track and understand and map what is really going on around the baby 24/7. And it's very simple tool to understand what is the impact of the environment on a baby development. For instance, quality of sleep and the sounds at home, the engagement and the activity level, and the feeding and the crying. There are so many metrics that will make us understand maybe it's rocking the baby more less and the crawling later on. Kissing and talking to the baby, or talking to the baby without kissing, and how the speech acquisition went later on. So when you speak about developmental charts, the developmental chart are a very simple table from the 70s that tracks the heights of the baby, the weight of the baby, and the scale of the baby, and that's it. We would like to create a data set that will enable these medical trials to make it very, very interesting, that might include the nutrition, the sleeping patterns, the crying frequencies, the length of the cry, so many other things that in the past nobody could collect them. It was very expensive, or never ever could be accurate. And maybe you can learn more and to personalize the journey that your baby is supposed to go through, and not to look in something very general and try to understand if your baby is fine. So this is one of the things we do. The other thing we want to do in the future, the moment again we will have and you need a lot of babies for that. It's a big data process. We would like to tell the world what is the user experience of babies. Nowadays, parents make purchase decisions by watching very interesting posts in the social media, and then they decide that this influencer use something, they will buy it for their baby, or they will buy this baby formula, and they will buy this car seat. Sorry, nobody asked the babies what is good for them. And we will be able to tell if the parents will cooperate with us. And you need only 600 people for each survey to understand if these car seats make your baby fall asleep, or you drive the car and the baby is screaming and cannot fall asleep. If this baby formula, you feed the baby, if he's fine, smiling, change diaper, go to sleep, wake up a couple of hours later, or it's a nightmare to feed the baby. He doesn't like it. So we will talk about the average baby, and I think it's going to be very interesting data sets in an area of $400 billion baby market. It's a very huge thing to do.
But I'm curious, I'm listening to you and I'm wondering, couldn't this be used for taking care of an aging parent?
Well, when we started, we had to make this decision what we're going to do, is because in terms of technology, yes, it can be done.
Yeah, because I can see the same thing, as parents
Yeah, it
age.
can be done.
I mean, in
It
many
can be
ways,
done.
I mean, people say as parents age, you end up taking care of them like they're a child
Yeah.
again, right? And then you have caregivers. You want to know what's going on through the day. If you train the caregivers to, input all the things, and then you get a report, you can further monitor and take
So
care of.
from the technological point of view, it's non-issue. But you, as a company, you need to define your goals, because from the marketing point of view, you are limited with your resources. From the technological point of view, yes, it's easy. It's there already. And guess what? The old elderly market is much more in terms of, from the business point of view, it's growing market. It's a massive market. In many countries, you won't find kids anymore. They have less newborns and more older people. But we decided it was a strategic decision. We decided to work in the baby market because over the very same energy, at the very same attention, very same $300, the impact of it is tremendous. I'm not saying it won't be useful to the elderly people for the next couple of years of their life. I'm saying that from the baby's point of view, these helpless babies, the impact is for the next 80 years or 90 years, whatever going to happen. But it's a very good thing. We had to make this decision. It was very tough decision. It's more discipline than a decision, because you need to concentrate on one market, to put all of your budget on it. It's like a gamble, but we have a reason for that. Me and my partner, we have a very unique stories that made us to concentrate at that period of time.
Sure, no, that makes sense. I understand. But I was just thinking, I think there's a potential other use that others may find it useful for them. Well, listen, I mean, it's been great talking to you. And before we wrap up, I have one last question for you. If you could have lunch or dinner with anyone in your industry, who would it be and why?
I'm going to give you three answers. I would love to have breakfast with myself sitting next to my auntie when I was 1 years old. I would love to just to observe them. It will give me a lot of explanation, right? I would like to have lunch with my father. He died already. And there are many questions I didn't ask on the and that I should ask. I don't know how to do that, but if you ask me about dinner, in any country there is someone with a lot of budgets that is responsible for the education. And people think the education, universities, high school, and a lot of money is spent over there. But in many countries, I would like to have dinner with these people to tell them, guys, spend this money in the early stages, in the elementary school, in the daycares, and with these toddlers, because over there you are dealing with the foundations. And I wish I could spend with all these people. And I think that most of them already know that, and I have no explanation. And I think that this dinner, I'm sorry I'm saying it, won't convince them to, because it's a popular decision. Because nowadays, anywhere you go, the caregivers anywhere in the world, when you ask them how much you make, nothing. It's not a lot of money. It's survival mode. They are living in a survival mode. It can be an old grandma. It can be someone who doesn't have any other job. In the universities, you will find people that get tons of money, but it's too late. So I wish I could change this pyramid and make people take these professors, or people that with the skills of professors and to bring this in the educational parts in the early stages. It's not in one country, it's all over the world that way. All over the world, we are not there yet. And I think that what we are going to do, and the understanding of the impact of the environment on the baby development, will make the world to understand how much you should spend in these early stages. I don't know who is that person for that dinner. Maybe this podcast, it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe somebody
yeah,
hears us. Maybe
that'd be great.
somebody hears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen to me. It's been great talking to you. I really found it very fascinating. It made me
Thank
think a
you.
lot about, children, how to raise them, and made a lot of connections for me. So I appreciate it. You actually
Thank you,
helped me
sir.
have a few aha moments myself. So thank you very
Thank you, sir.
much.
I appreciate so much. Thank you for supportive attention and everything. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Getting to AHA was brought to you by iResearch. To find out more about us, head to iResearch.com and make sure to search for Getting to AHA in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else podcasts are found. And don't forget to click follow to ensure you don't miss any future episodes. Thank you for listening.